So we talked about this backward chaining and forward chaining. This forward chaining algorithm is typically applied in what is called as production systems. Applied in production systems. Now, what do we mean by that is so there is a architecture which is actually called as frame-based architecture and production-based architecture. Now, the production-based architecture is what tries to use the forward chaining strategy. So some applications cannot work with something like a frame-based architecture, but we are not going to talk about too much on that. There is something called as a production system architecture, where you have set of rules, okay, several thousands of rules for designing configurations of the computer components for the digital corporation. Okay, so that basically had to and it had to basically apply some expert system logic. So when I say expert system logic, you have the expert give you all possible rules, and then you'll incorporate that into a computer architecture, into a production based architecture system, which will try to use those rules to derive inferences. Okay, so the two famous AI architectures is production based systems as well as frame based systems. We will see just a quick look on what those, because these are all this is actually part of a full-fledged AI course only, but I will just mention after discussing this later. So we have this production system which is consisting of a set of rules, and you start connecting those rules in all possible manners to derive your inference. And forward chaining algorithm is typically used in production based architectures because you have enough rules to support that. So this generalized modus ponens algorithm, whether it uses forward chaining or backward chaining, is supposed to be complete on all aspects, in the sense that so suppose, and if it contains only Horn clauses, it is complete, and it is if it contains non-Horn clauses, it is not going to be complete. So that is what we have to just talk about, the completeness of GMP. And you already know that the modus ponens is a sound algorithm. So therefore, generalized modus ponens is also a sound algorithm. Now, we talked about resolution in the context of unit resolution in the context of propositional logic, where we said that if L1 or L2 or L3 etc. up to Ln and M1 dash or M2 dash or M3 dash etc. up to some Mk dash are available in the knowledge base, where M1 and L1 are complements, we can try to get the complete ORing of these as an inference. So this is what we talked about in the propositional logic scenario. Okay. Now I think you remember not of some B11 or P12, and then you had a not of B11. Both were available. We kind of inferred from this. We kind of inferred P12. So these two were actually, this is not okay. These two were actually cancelled, and we inferred P12, where we derived inferences from propositional logic. The same thing can be applied for first order logic also, but first order logic has got the universal quantifier, the existential quantifier, and so how do we handle that is what we are going to see today. So this resolution is actually sound and complete inference procedure for first order logic. So this is what is your, I just now told you this, P1 or P2 etc. up to Pn is available in the knowledge base, and not P1 or Q2 etc. up to Qm is available. I just said L1 and M1 dash are complements of each other. So if these two are available, the remaining can be ORed in order to get your final, that is going to be your inferencing. So P2 to Pn or Q2 to Qm. So completely ORing the remaining things will be your inference. So supposing if you have excuse me, P and not P or Q available in your knowledge base, then P and not P will get cancelled, so you can derive Q. This is nothing but again modus ponens. Okay, so And supposing you have not P or Q and not Q or R is available. So Q and not Q will basically get cancelled. So not P or R can be derived. Okay, P and not P derives false. So that is not going to be available. P and not P both cannot be there in your knowledge base. Either P should be there or not P should be there, but not both. Look at this. This is not P or Q. Okay, it is not simply not P. And similarly here P or Q and not P or not Q. So that this is actually what this is nothing but P and Q. The whole complement is available. Okay, complement of P and Q is available. Okay, so that is different. This is P or Q. This is P and Q complement. Okay, because this is De Morgan's theorem. So that will derive true. So you'll be able to get it. So you have to apply this inferencing mechanism with reference to first order logic rules. Okay, that's what we're going to see here today. So supposing you are given sentences P1 to Pn in conjunctive normal form and Q1 to Qm also in conjunctive normal form, which is just ORing of the clausal, where each Pi and Qi can be literals. Okay, so that is your sentence scenario. And supposing if Pj and not Q unify. Now what is unify? We already said. Supposing you are able to find some theta where the substitution can basically result in a truth value. So then with substitution list theta, then you can derive the resolvent sentence as theta as P1 to Pj minus 1. Pj and not Q only has basically unified. So this is a variation of propositional logic. So there we said only complements of that particular term. So we said here, supposing you are able to unify Pj and not Qq. So then P1 to Pj. Okay, remember this point. P1 to Pn were there. Not P1, not Q2. Sorry, not P1, Q2, etc. up to Qm were there. So P1 and not P1 were resolved and you were able to infer P2 to Pn ORing of that and Q2 to Qm ORing of that. So now you have this unification in first order logic. So therefore you will try to do that also. So substitution of Pj and not Qq unify with the substitution less theta. So here you will say that not Qq is there. Okay. So P1 to Pj minus 1, Pj is not there, and Pj plus 1 to Pn, that is there, or Q1 to Qk minus 1 is there. That Qk was actually available as not Qk, for example, say. So you have Qk plus 1 to Qm, that is actually removed. So Qk is removed and you have the substitution derived like this. So you will be able to resolve this sentence. This is called as the resolvent. This is the inferencing from this particular application of the resolution principle. So for example, from class, supposing you have P of x comma f of a or P of x comma f of y or q of y. This could be your situation, and you have a class like not of from this particular class and this particular class. So these are two different classes. So P of x comma f of a or P of x comma f of y or q of y, and you have not of P of z comma f of a and not of q of z. Now you look at this. These two are complements of each other if you substitute x and z. Okay, and P of x comma f of y is here. Okay, and this is R q of y is here, and this is R not q of z. So these two are basically equal. I mean, these two are basically the unification for Pj and not Qk. So where I have replaced x by z. So this has been removed. So the resolvent can be P of, you have substituted x with z. Okay, so this is P of z comma f of y or q of y, and this is R not q of z. So this is going to be your resolvent. So you have to try to apply this. Now this doesn't have any universal quantifier or an existential quantifier. So what if you do that? That is what we're going to see the next step. So what happens is you have to go for resolution refutation, which is so you have a consistent set of axioms knowledge base and a goal sentence Q. So you have to show that this Q entails the knowledge base entails Q. Okay, that is you are able to get Q from the knowledge base. So you can go by contradiction for this. Supposing say, remember the algorithm which we had, resolution algorithm, you had not alpha added to the knowledge base and then try to get that to a empty set. I don't know whether you remember that or not, but you remember that propositional logic resolution algorithm which we discussed. You had the knowledge base and we had not alpha as your algorithms input, where alpha is what you have to check whether it is derivable or not. And you had this not alpha and you concluded that if it results in an empty set, you call that as a available sentence. So you can say that alpha knowledge base entails alpha. So similarly here, you add not Q to knowledge base and try to prove false. Okay, so that is what is your proof by contradiction. Actually, yeah. So you add not Q to knowledge base and prove that is going to be false. So that is, you will say KB will entail Q if and only if KB or not Q entails false. This is what you're trying to prove here. So what happens is, yeah. So resolution may not give an answer since you have already said entailment is going to be semi-decidable depending upon whether you apply forward chaining or backward chaining. Your loop runs for non-deterministic polynomial time. So, so you can try to run two proofs in parallel, one trying to prove Q and other trying to prove not Q, since KB may not entail both. So this is how you try to construct the refutation resolution proof tree. So where you have this is the example which we tried to give earlier. Not allergies of W or W sneeze. Now this example we already saw. Okay, so this is your knowledge base. So okay, not allergies of W and sneeze of W, and you have not of cat Y or not allergic to cats Z or allergies of Z. So you can try to do a substitution W by Z. So this not allergies and this allergies will vanish. So that will lead you to not cat Y or sneeze of Z or not allergic to cats of Z. So and you already know cat is a Felix. So substituting Y by Felix. So these two will vanish. So that will result in sneeze of Z versus not allergic to cats of Z. And you already have allergic to cats of Lisa. So you can now say Z and Lisa are going to be the substitution resulting in sneeze of Lisa. Now this is your alpha, which is your negated query, is not sneeze of Lisa. So both cannot be there. So resulting in false. So your negated query results in false. Therefore you conclude that this Lisa sneeze is going to be available in the knowledge base. So same logic whatever we did with propositional logic. But you need to, this is a very simple sentence which we have considered. This did not have any of the, so we had this knowledge base, from that we derived this particular scenario. So we just had all these combinations in all possible ways and then tried to generate this situation. Now, we again applied, this is resolution by refutation, which is by contradiction. So here, this does not have any universal quantifier or an existential quantifier or anything of that nature. So supposing you have all those, which is a possibility in first order logic, how do I go about doing that? So in order to do that, you have to do these three scenarios. One is you have to convert first order logic sentences to conjunctive normal form. This is called as normalization and Skolemization. Okay, Skolem concept you already know. So normalization is for the universal quantifier, and Skolemization is basically for the existential quantifier. After that, you have to do unification. So unification is finding the substitution less theta. And how to, then you have to apply the resolution strategy, which is basically on this. So once you have at this particular step, these two steps are the pre-processing. And once you pre-process that, then you can apply resolution similar to how you applied earlier and then get your sentences derived. So there is a 7-step process here. Okay. This is the first step. So you have to go methodical. If you skip one after the other, you might end up in again some inconsistency. Whatever should be done repeatedly, that is also mentioned in the 7-step process itself. So you need not iterate. So the iteration is actually rolled out. So you can try to do that. So this is the first scenario. P double implies Q. P if and only if Q. This can be written as P implies Q and Q implies P. Now this is the same as whatever we did propositional logic based CNF representation. And then you can eliminate this implies connective by converting that into not P or Q. This also we did the same thing in the previous scenario. Now this is new here. Okay. Now these two are similar to the propositional logic scenario. Now this is new. So you have to reduce the scope of each negation symbol. So to a single predicate. Now, this is very important. So not P, you convert that to P. Not of P or Q, you convert that to not P and not Q. That is apply De Morgan's law here for these two situations. And now this is the beauty where it handles the universal quantifier and the existential quantifier, but it again retains the universal and existential quantifier. That will be removed only in normalization and Skolemization. So the first step we are doing is converting to CNF only. So not of, remember we had some 4 combinations earlier itself. So for all x in the previous just 2 classes back or something, we said for all x P of x can be written as I also said this example 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. So like that is what you are trying to do here, but not everything. You are just handling the negation symbol alone. So that is why you have this 0 0 and 1 0 0 1 and 1 0 handled here. So not of for all x P of P is written as there exists x not P. Okay. And similarly here, not of there exists x P is written as for all x not P. Okay. So this is the rule that you are trying to do after the third step. So the first step is converting biconditional, is a biconditional elimination. Second one is the implies elimination, and the third one is negation symbol scope reduction. Okay. And the last one, the fourth one is standardizing the variables. Okay. Now this is a very simple task. Rename the variables such that each quantifier will have its own variable name. So this is just renaming. Okay. So just giving a different variable name so that everything will have a unique variable of its own. And then this is the Skolemization scenario or normalization scenario. So supposing you have this there exists x P of x, you replace that with P of C. Okay, that is the first scenario. And supposing you have for all x there exists y P of x comma y. If this is your situation, you convert that to retain the for all x as it is and P of x comma y. You call this y as some function of x. Okay, so you convert this as some function of x. So that is there exists is because there exists is within the scope of the universal quantifier. So you are using rather than a Skolem function instead of a Skolem constant to replace this y with in terms of x itself. Okay, in terms of f of x itself. So you convert it in this particular fashion. Supposing here this is your and this function of x should basically be, this function should be a totally new name and it should not be repeated from the previous set of scenarios. So you have for all x there exists y such that x loves y. Okay, so can be converted to Um, for all x loves you retain, x also you retain. Instead of y, you call it as f of x. So f of x is basically be specifies the person that x loves. So I can say some John, Mary, whatever. Okay. So this is the next step, which is existential quantification or scholemization. So first is 4 steps we said, and the 5th step is this. And the 6th step is removing universal quantifier. So this has removed existential quantifier. Now this will remove universal quantifier. So for all x p of x completed with p of x. So you can say moving all of them to the left hand, making the scope of each of the entire sentence and dropping the prefix part. So this is actually for all x p of x basically refers to only p of x. And put this into conjunctive normal form. So conjunction of disjunctions using distributive and associative law. Now here this is trying to get you distributive law, which is P RR and QRR, and this is going to be applying distributive law. PRQ RR will be PRQRR. Okay, and then split the conjuncts into separate classes. Supposing you have P of x and Q of x. This is one class, and P of f of x or not of Q of y, okay, etc. So you basically split that into separate classes, and then you standardize variables again. Now this was already done in step 4. This is what I said. The iteration has been rolled out, so you need not repeat an item. It has been rolled out. So the last step is standardizing the variables so that each class contains only variable names that are not occurring in other classes. So this is the 9 steps basically. I didn't talk about these 2 steps separately because this is just splitting and this is again standardizing. So these are the especially the till 3 also you already know except for these 2 steps, and 4th is just a renaming, and 5, 6, 7, 5, 6 is what you should basically focus. 7 is of course it's already done in the previous propositional logic scenario also. So consider this particular example. So for all x, now look at the parenthesization. For all x, p of x implies for all y, p of y implies p of f of x comma y. So now this is a parenthesized sentence, and this is this is your q actually. Okay, some q or a. Okay, I'll call this as a. This is p of x implies q of x, and there's an and here, and this is going to be your some not of something implies p of y. So I have here 1, and this parenthesis closes here. Okay, so it is as though you have 2 connectives. It is something like this: A implies B and C implies D. So this is what we have parenthesized. Okay, now so first step is what? First step is eliminate the biconditional connectives and then eliminate the if then connective. So there is no biconditional here, so you can directly go for eliminating the if then connective. So here this is alpha implies beta can be written as not alpha or beta. Okay, not alpha or beta. Okay, that is what we're going to do first. So this for all x remains as it is. This is my alpha, so not p of x. Okay, or with this statement as it is. Okay, for all y, this is my beta, but look at beta. Beta also has a alpha implies beta scenario, so that is going to be again not alpha or beta. Okay, so this is alpha implies beta, but beta itself is another alpha implies beta. So you kind of got this not alpha or beta also inside this. Okay, now this is the first part, and the second part is slightly simple because I have only one if then statement here. For all y, not of q of x comma y or P of y. Okay, so this is done. Okay, now reduce the scope of negation. What is the scope of negation? We said, so double naught will be P, applying De Morgan's law, and naught of for all x p is there exists x and not p. There doesn't exist x p is for all x not p. So you're going to apply these four rules. There is no not p implies p is not there here. So you are going to apply that. So there is this remains as it is because we are talking about a not for all x, not for all x. So that is not the case here. So this half remains as it is. Okay, I have not changed that half. Only thing is, what have we changed? Not for all x p is there exists x not p. Okay, so there exists y, and this is, I'm going to take this not inside. If I take this not inside, this is going to be not of A union B, the whole not of A union B, which is equal to A bar intersection B bar. Now A is not of Q x y, so double negation will cause Q of x comma y here, and B is P of y, so a negation will cause P of y, and it is connected by the AND operator, because A union B the whole bar is A dash intersection B dash. So that is the next step. Now I have to do standardizing of variables so that everything has got a unique variable of its own. So that is what we are trying to do here. So for all x not p of x, or for all y not p of y, etc. So this is got x and y. Now this x and y, there exists z is here. So therefore I cannot use that there exists here. So I will try to use z in place of y. So this is there exists z, q of x comma z, and not of pz. So that is the standardization. This is the very simple procedure. And then what we say is eliminate existential quantification using Skolemization. So there is no existential quantification here. So there exists q of x comma z and not of p of z. So what do we do here? Instead of this z, you are going to get a function here, because that is what is a Skolem function. So you call it as q of x comma g of x, and instead of z you call it as not of p of g of x. Then you have to drop the universal quantification symbols. So how did we drop universal quantification symbols? So for all x, p of x will be reduced to p of x only. So this is not p of x, or this is going to be not p of y or p of f of x comma y. So this is over. So this parenthesis and this parenthesis completes, and this parenthesis and this parenthesis completes. Okay, and q of x comma g of x. So this is one parenthesis ANDed with not of p of g of x. Okay, so that is going to be another situation. So once that is done, this is, you have dropped the universal quantification. So this did not have a quantification, so I retained it as it is. Now what is the seventh step? Seventh step is now to apply CNF by applying distributive and associative law. So I have A or B or C and D and E. So I'm going to apply that A and B and C here as distributive, and it with A or D. So this is going to be A or B or C, and it with A or D and with A or E, etc. So that is what we are going to do here. So okay, so applying that, not P of X or these two. So I am going to apply now associative law. So associative law got this here. There is an AND symbol. Okay, and I'm going to get this inside this. So not of P of X or Q of X comma G of X, and not of P of X or not of P of G of X. So Q of X and not of P of G of X was there. So I kind of got that inside and then apply distributive law to get it this far. Then you have to create separate classes. So separate classes is very simple. Not P of X or this one or this one. Just remove the AND. Okay. And then get the remaining stuff and then standardize the variables. So here P of X, P of Y, this is the same. I am now using, instead of X, I'm going to use P of Z, Q of Z comma G of Z. This is going to be P of W and not of P of G of W. So that is going to be your condition. So you have to have these 9 steps rather to get your conversion into standardizing of the variables. Now this will be used individually. So this is your knowledge base now. Then you have to negate the sentence alpha and then prove that alpha is not alpha is false. So therefore you can conclude that alpha is a knowledge base entails alpha. So let us look at this example. Okay. Just go over this, or you want to take some notes here, or have you already taken down? People who are present here, do you want to take some notes? No response.
We
take screenshots.
Huh?
Like this one, like we didn't take notes, but we are listening.
No, I know you are listening. But what if I ask you to do some exercise there? I don't know. Anyway. Okay, let us continue. We'll see. So Jack owns a dog. Every dog owner is an animal lover. No animal lover kills an animal. Either Jack or Curiosity killed the cat, who's named Tuna. Did Curiosity kill the cat? Okay, that is going to be your question. Now, Jack owns a dog. So there exists X. Okay, and if X is a dog and Jack owns X. Okay, we do not know the dog. Okay, we do not know the name of the dog, so you call it as X is a dog. And then you say for all X, there exists Y. Every dog owner is an animal lover. So dog of Y, and if it is owns, that is you're getting the previous statement as it is here. And we said every dog owner is an animal. Okay, so for all X, this animal lover of X. So you can conclude here, Jack is an animal lover. That is what we are trying to do here. So Jack is an animal lover. So he could not have killed the cat. Therefore, Curiosity would have probably killed the cat. But we do not know what is Curiosity. It's okay. So the third one is, so if X is an animal lover, all X is an animal lover, this implies, and Y is an animal, this implies X does not kill Y. Okay. No animal lover kills an animal. No animal lover kills an animal. So you can even use a negation with respect to there exists Y and then try to write this, but this is not the only way to write it. So you have your options to write another way. That will become equivalent to the rules that we have seen in terms of negation. So for all X, how do you convert it into there exists? And either Jack or Curiosity kill the cat, okay, who's named Tuna. So Jack kills Tuna or Curiosity kills Tuna, and Tuna is a cat, okay. Now for all X, if X is a cat, X is going to be an, it's an animal. Cat is an animal, okay. So the last question is, Curiosity kills Tuna. That is going to be your goal statement. So did Curiosity kill the cat? So this is my alpha. Let us look at this. So the first statement is, you have this statement. You are converting this into a column constant. So column constant will be replacing this there exists with a there exists X with a particular value. So you call the dogs as D, and Jack owns X, so Jack owns D. So writing it into sentences, and so from this, for all X there exists Y, dog of Y, and owns X owns Y implies animal lover X. So what are you trying to do here? You are trying to break this into A implies B as not A, not A, not A or B. Okay, so from that you can try to get this. So you can apply this not A or B here. So you have this eliminated. For all X is there, there exists. So you apply this, whatever 7-step procedure we have followed for that particular statement, you apply it for this one separately, okay, and you get this particular B established. Now how do you get, so okay, if you try doing this, you will be in a position to understand. So there exists X, dog of X, and owns Jack of X, okay. Let me quickly do that here. So it says there exists X, dog of X, and Jack owns X, okay. So there exists X, dog of X, and owns Jack, comma X. Where is the parenthesis? Okay, so this is my, there exists X, X is a dog, and Jack owns X. So this is your situation. Now you have to convert this into a clausal form sentence. So I do not have this connective, I do not have this connective, I do not have a negation corrective also. Standardizing variables, I don't have repeating variables, only one variable is there. I have to now remove the column constant. Sorry. Yeah, this I have to remove. So there exists X, P of X implies P of C. Okay, so this I have to remove. So for all X, there exists Y, P of X comma Y. This can be written as this scenario. And so there exists X, dog of X. So I'm going to call this X with a D. So call this as dog of D and owns Jack, comma D. So I have applied only this rule 5 as of now, okay. And then rule 6 is not applicable. Rule 7 is, it is already in and. So this is a clause, this is another clause. So you have dog of D as one clause and owns Jack, D is another class. Okay, so split the conjuncts into classes. That is what you have got these two scenarios. Now let us look at the second one. That is going to be tricky. So second one is for all x. Okay, right. Let me write it. For all x, there exists y. Dog of y and owns x comma y. Dog of y and owns x comma y implies animal lover of x. Okay, so now this is your situation. Okay, this is a parenthesis here, and this for all x is applicable for the complete statement. Okay, let me confirm the parenthesis. So for all x separately, I have there exists y, dog of y, and owns x comma y. So this is going to be a parenthesis. This implies animal lover of x. Okay. Okay. It's here. Okay. This implies animal lover of x. Okay. So this is what I have. Now let me try to. So it has got this implies operator. Okay. Now this implies operator can be written as P implies Q. So it is not P or Q. So P implies Q. So it is not P or Q. So this is there exists Y is also there here. So there exists Y, not P implies Q. So not of dog of Y and owns x comma y. That is implies not P or Q. Okay. So R
Not will come outside to y also, no, ma'am.
beg your pardon?
Like the not will apply to the entire left hand side class, so it should.
Yes. I have got that only.
Like
Yes.
that for there exists y will become for all y, ma'am. Like,
There exists.
y will become for all y.
No,
Because
we'll go.
equation should be applied to the entire class, like dog y and owns of x comma y.
1 minute. Oh, P is there exist. Okay, I'm sorry. Right. So not is this one. Okay, and animal lover of x. So this not for all x, not there exists y, dog of y and owns x comma y, or this one. So this has got a parenthesization now. Okay. So this is my not P. Now there exists y should be removed. So not there exists y will become for all x, not P. So this will become for all x, for all y, not of dog of y and owns x comma y, or animal lover of x. So now this is for all x, for all y, not of dog y, owns x comma y, animal lover of x. So now what happens? This standardization is it's there because it is separate only. There is no repetition of variables. So you have to now apply column constant. There is no columnization required. Now for all x, P of x will be written as P of x only. So here this will be for all x will be animal lover of x only. So here for all y will be this only. So not of dog of y and owns of x comma y and or animal lover of x. So this we'll take it inside. So this will become a bar or B bar. So not of dog of Y or not owns X comma Y or animal lover of X. So not dog comma Y, not owns X comma Y, animal lover of X. So for each of the clauses, you have to apply the procedure and get your scenario, and then you have to apply the rule. We'll come back to that. So you can treat this as some exercise which you can think of and then apply that. Okay, so you go through this example. You can take a screenshot if you want, and then try to apply the rules one after the other, and then get individual clauses which will be applied in order to get your resolution. Okay, in order to get refutation. So resolution is what we are trying to do now. So we have got not dogs of Y or with this one. So all these are individual clauses. Okay, that is what we have got here. So you can apply the same thing for C, D, E. There is nothing. F is also relatively small. C alone is going to be slightly bigger. Again, not much. So, but there will be, yeah, not much. That's all. So you can try applying this. Use that 9-step procedure to convert it into individual sentences, and then try to come back. So we will stop here. We will stop here. You next Monday we will try to finish this.